I'm also curious that you said in giving your story that unfortunately, you used the term unfortunately, you gave up your US citizenship. Is that something you regret? Or what are your thoughts around that?
I don't regret my decision to do it because on the balance of benefits to drawbacks, I still feel it was the right decision to make. Unfortunately, obviously, because even though I didn't really consider myself an American so much as my identity, you're giving something up, you're giving up part of your identity, and also for so long, and still to this day, the American passport is just something that so many people aspire to, as something that's incredibly valued. And so to walk away from that is a big decision. And I guess my only regret is that I wish things would have been easier for Americans living overseas, so they're not sort of put in the situation that they can be sometimes, forcing them to renounce.
I understand completely what you mean. So, I mean, we're not the biggest practice in the world, but we probably deal with 4 or 5 persons every month who are giving up the US passport or green card. And, it is a huge decision, but on balance, we also do pre-immigration planning. And the queue or the line of people trying to get in, of people of high net worth trying to get in, is way, way higher than those getting out. And there was, you mentioned Noma Capitalist is another firm that we follow quite closely, Helmy and Partners. I'm not promoting them. It's just that they put out some great content in terms of content creation. They put out great content. And they have, for the past few years, or perhaps longer than that, I've just been paying attention for the past few years, they put out a list of the cities in the world where the highest net worth individuals would be concentrated, right? And a surprising number of them are in the US. So, and to me, what is interesting about that is that there is this narrative, at least within social media, like common social media, that it's all about minimizing taxes. Whereas when you look at those people who really do have wealth, they find themselves concentrated in places that are high tax. They're concentrated in the United States by far, something like 6 or 7 of the top 10 cities in the world, as well as in Europe. And Europe is not synonymous with low tax. It's probably the highest tax jurisdiction on planet Earth. Whereas you would expected everyone to be fighting to live on some Caribbean island or in the Emirates. I mean, the Emirates does have something going on, but still people are queuing to get into the US and to Australia. Australia, they take half your money, but people are fighting to get in. to your point, it's when you look at the flow of wealth, there's, Australia is probably in the top 3 in the world in terms of high net worth people trying to get in. So it's interesting. When we speak with clients and, they've already made the decision by the time they get to us, and we're just helping them with the tax compliance piece. I normally give them 2 stories. So I moved to Singapore. I'm in Uruguay right now, but I moved to Singapore. Singapore is my primary residence. I moved to Singapore in 2013, and one of the stories that I encountered was obviously, well, you've lived in Australia, so Singapore is pretty small. 0 things happening there. It's pretty boring. So on weekends, people go and they do stuff elsewhere, and a bunch of guys had gone on a guys' weekend hiking in Malaysia next door. So they left, I think, on Saturday, on Friday night and Saturday morning. And by Sunday evening, they had not returned. They missed their flight. They missed their ride back. So their wives and girlfriends were a bit worried, and they contacted the Malaysian authorities, who said, sorry, we can't help you. But you know how the story goes. There were a bunch of Americans in the group. They contacted the embassy, just like a movie. Chopper goes in, brings them safely back home, one of those Netflix moments. And the thing is that we don't know of any other jurisdiction in the world that would go out of its way to help its citizens the way the United States does. But in the French, they'll pay a ransom if you get kidnapped. The Brits, they will send you consular assistance. So someone from the British embassy will go and nod if you get trapped somewhere. Sorry, we can't help you. But those that would actually, roll their sleeves up and get shit done is going to be the US. So I give them that story and another story. So I spent a lot of my life, because my parents are from Trinidad and the Caribbean. And before it was a thing, in 1990, there was a coup attempt. So a militant Islamic group took over the country for a period of time, a couple of weeks or something. And we have US citizens in our home. And the US embassy would call our house every day. And I can't say that, Paul is fine. They need to hear Paul's voice every single day. And we have multiple passports, and that was the only embassy that contacted our home every day during that period of uncertainty. So I give those two stories. None of those two stories have been good enough to make anyone change their mind, but it is something to consider.
So if you're a 6, 7, or 8-figure investor, entrepreneur, or business owner who needs a tailor-made solution from a qualified team of professionals, we can help you achieve the international lifestyle, the freedom, and even the tax savings you're looking for. Visit us at htj.tax and live that international life.
Absolutely.